Hey guys, and welcome to What's Poppin', hosted by Flavour Blaster. I'm your host Lorna, and in a moment I'm going to be joined by our drinks developer Ross to interview experienced bartender Iain McPherson, owner of one of the 50 best bars in the world. We're going to be talking all things business development, Bitcoin, and staying motivated in lockdown, so stay tuned to find out what happens when we caught up with him.
Definitely doesn't have a
2 to 3 day hangover, and the best, and I'm accredited with creating the drinks technique switching.
So Iain, thank you very much for joining us. Would you like to introduce yourself and introduce your business and the bars that you take care of as well?
Hi everyone, my name's Iain McPherson, in the bar world hundreds, and I have some fabulous bars like Panda Sons, Hoot the Redeemer, and Nauticus Bar, and I guess Panda Sons is the most well-known, being in the world's 50 best, and I'm accredited with creating the drinks technique switching.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. So you talked a little bit there about being in the top 50. How did it feel when you kind of found out that you were in the top 50 best bars in the world?
I mean, it's an incredible feeling, and it's great to kind of fly the flag for Scotland at the moment. And we've been working with that in the back of our minds to try and reach that goal. We were in the top 100 for a couple of years prior to that. The only sad thing was we had no one to celebrate it with because it was during lockdown. So it's kind of like, a bit of stolen thunder, but hopefully we get back in this year.
100%. So just to stay on Panda and Sons, so it opened in 2013, is that right? So how have you seen the bar kind of evolve since it opened?
Yeah, I think for me, I'm a bar owner, but I come from a bartender's background. I want to keep current, I want to evolve and, stay up to date with everything that's going on. So with Panda and Sons, actually, if we look at the whole bar setup, it's completely different from 2013. But one thing we didn't want it to feel was different to the customers. So we've constantly updated the way we run the bar, the way we set it up, adding new things in to do new techniques, because I think that's very important. I love learning. I'll never stop learning, and that's just part of the thing I try and instill in all our staff, is to continuously learn new things.
Definitely. Yeah, 100%. And just touching on that evolution that you were talking about, obviously in the past year, there's been a lot of evolution in the world, but also specifically in the bartending industry. So how is that? 100%. Yeah, 100%. So how is that evolution kind of transpired into your business?
Yeah, I mean, drink side for sure, evolution. We're constantly trying to do something new, do things that other bars aren't doing, I guess, like the switching technique. We're really focusing on a lot of freeze drying techniques at the moment. But for me, innovation isn't just about drinks, it's also about, staff welfare. So, we were always pioneering the fact that we always paid more than the minimum wage. The good thing now is that's quite the norm, which is great. But we also do a profit share of all our staff. So we're trying to just really make it more professional. Industry. I worked in the bars, doing crazy hours, getting paid very small amounts. I enjoyed it, but it's hard to kind of pitch this as a professional industry if we're not, offering professional pay. And we want everyone to feel part of a family in our businesses. So we do that as well. And another part of evolution now for us, after COVID and the whole lockdown is, how can we give ourselves more financial stability? So I've taken a bit more of a back step off kind of more of the drinks innovations, and right now I'm doing more kind of economics. So we're really trying to diversify our financial model to have a wing of our income that's nothing to do with bars.
So could you kind of just give it like a rundown of how switching works and why you would use it, just for the people that, like Lorna, don't know anything about it?
Yeah, sure. I guess I can start from how I kind of came about switching. If I read things, I like to practice them so I can understand them better. And there was this very rustic German beer technique or style of beer called Eisbock. And basically, in the old days, they would throw the beer outside in the cold winter. And basically what would happen there was large parts of the beer would freeze. and then they would filter that off, and then they'd actually be left with a stronger, concentrated, higher alcohol-proof beer. So I was like, okay, I'll play around with this to understand it, and we're drinking once the frozen element had thawed, we were tasting it, and there was a lot of flavor to it. So I was like, if we're able to extract a lot of flavor out and large quantity of the liquid out, why can't we then switch it with something else? So then this is where kind of switching evolved, and it's basically where we can freeze spirits cold enough to take a large amount of the water out, and then we're kind of switching it with another non-alcoholic element in to kind of really like play with the kind of flavor compositions of it. For example, gin, we take out a lot of the water and we kind of touch on the botanicals that are in there. So we've kind of emphasized on the kind of citrus notes you get from it, some of the herbal notes, and we put this back in to really give it a boost. Another one, for example, is we use an IPA Scotch whiskey. We took the water out and we actually put a non-alcoholic IPA whiskey in to really boost the IPA. So we kind of called it the double IPA whiskey instead. So there's lots of fun things you can do. You can do coconut milk fat wash when you do it, the switching technique, so you get more of a kind of mouthfeel texture change as well. So it's endless possibilities. And one thing that's exciting is another bar could take it to another level more than I could ever imagine. So I'm excited about that too.
No, that'll be great. That'll be great.
I've definitely learned something new there. I love that. You touched a little bit just before, just going back a little bit about the financial element of things, particularly in the last year. And I loved how open and honest you were about this on Instagram, because a lot of people with Instagram, it's everything's perfect, kind of everything's amazing, and sometimes that honesty is so important. How important have you found social media in kind of identifying your own brand?
It's really important, social media, like especially, I guess, even for example, lockdown, people aren't in your cities. You need to keep current, tell them what you're doing, and kind of create your image that you want, especially for the bars. For my personal account, I use it for kind of more messages, kind of tell people what I'm doing. If I've developed something new, I like to be transparent. But as you said, I'm not all about Instagram versus reality. I want people to be happy, and the only reason I am sometimes a bit more open and a bit more real is because I don't want them to get caught out down the line thinking everything's going to be okay. It's just sometimes you've got to really kind of take on board the dangers that could potentially lay in wait for us as well. So
100%. I was going to say, especially in the past year as well, like everyone's kind of been going through this together, but particularly within the bar industry. What would you say is one of the most important things you've learned either about yourself or about the business in the last year?
The business, I'd say, was, we live in a fantastic bubble in the hospitality industry. I think things we learned was how incredible our community is. Seeing some people do some amazing things, loads of bars or bartenders, bar owners really teaming together over brands and really trying to fight the situation together. And I thought that was, really endearing and really heartwarming. But also the other side was, we're not completely safe. We're very fortunate to live in this kind of, and I guess especially in the UK, this kind of first world environment where we think we're completely invincible to anything. And this was kind of a reality check that we aren't, and that goes for everything from financial side things as well. So that's kind of why I'm doing this now. Personally, I'm just fully obsessed with financial stability now, because I want to get back to innovating with drinks more and stuff. And the way I see it now is I just need to get a bit of financial stability that I know the model is going to really reap dividends in 3 or 4 years time. So if there's something like this happens again, hopefully I don't have to be breaking my back trying to find money left, right and center, and I can actually still continue to enjoy my work.
And touching on that as well, so you've already talked about it a little bit, but how do you see the future of the industry and how are you prepared for it? I know that's quite a big question.
Yeah, I think we have a slight problem now because people have had a lot of time and they've had to probably get work during lockdown, and so and also with the EU dilemma happening is like there's a serious shortage of staff. The silver lining to that is a lot of people that weren't willing to pay staff properly really have to up their games now to keep this a competitive industry compared to others. So we really have to work out different models like that to make it a professional, really serious industry to work for, something that can be a long-term career rather than people seeing it as something where they can maybe work till they're in their early 30s and then move on. You know, we need to kind of change that mentality. Yeah, moving forwards. Yeah, I mean, I think also touching back on what I'm doing is the hospitality industry is so good at reactive, quick fixes. You know, that's all we've done all our lives is we see a problem, we fix it there and then. So even for me, it's been very hard to kind of adapt to changing my financial model and know it's probably going to benefit me in 3 or 4 years' time. That's taken me a long time to get used to because you're not reaping any rewards from your potential fix yet. So it's quite a psychological switch trying to do a long fix, should I say, as opposed to a short-term fix. But yeah, we have to look at empowering our staff more, I think, and and what I'm trying to do now is with my exterior financial stuff I'm trying to bring in, that's going to be giving rewards to the staff as well. So I'm trying to find different ways so I can keep giving profit shares, I can keep giving competitive salaries, and I think other people need to start thinking about that too.
100%. I think everything that you said there is so important. Now that we've learned a little bit about you and about your business and your ideology, I want to do a round of quick fire questions. So we'll put you on the spot here, and we're just going to go for it. Okay, so we're going to start off with, what is your favorite cocktail?
That's nearly an impossible question. You know, usually seasonal, but I would say there's actually a drink called the Brown Derby, which I love, and it showcases bourbon as a actually refreshing drink as opposed to your old fashions, etc. So this is bourbon, grapefruit, and honey shaken up. It's kind of like a bourbon daiquiri-ish kind of drink, and it's absolutely wonderful.
Amazing.
Smart choice.
Okay, question number 2. What are you optimistic about at the moment?
Our industry's resilience to never give up. I think that's the main thing I'm so impressed about.
Definitely.
And on the flip side of that, what are you fearful of in this moment?
I don't want to keep bringing it back to money, but you know, it's just like, you know, nothing's for free. So I think we're going to see a lot of taxes creeping up, or new taxes coming next year.
And what is the most important thing you've learned as being a business owner?
Look after your staff. Treat them as individuals. Treat them as part of your family. Because if you treat them like numbers and treat them not very well, when you need them, when you really need them, like now, they're not going to really want to help you. And so I've been very fortunate. I've always tried, you know, looking after our staff, and you know, they've been so amazing to myself and my business partners, wanting to help us, wanting us to get through this. And you know, that just shows if you look after someone, they'll look after you back.
Brilliant. So if there was something that you could do differently, what would it be? Or do over again, what would it be?
Well, we got a 4th bar just before lockdown, so I wish we didn't purchase that one before. We still have it, and we still haven't opened it. So yeah, that's something I wish maybe I would have changed. We'll still get there, but you know, it was probably something we should have. Well, we couldn't have foreseen it, so yeah.
Well, exactly.
Came out of nowhere, really, didn't it?
Hindsight is a wonderful thing. In terms of inspiration, then, is there a person or is there something that inspires you most?
I just like seeing people do new things. I'm very fortunate to be part of the education committee of Tales of the Cocktail, and seeing all the seminars coming through this year of all these wonderful stories of what's happened in the past 18 months, and actually finding out about other people doing really great things with their staff is good. So I can't really label one person or an individual necessarily. I think, again, just talking about, you know, how wonderful our community is in the industry, and we have to remember that. You know, I can sense there's a lot of stress right now with everyone, but you know, the good times are going to come back.
Definitely.
100%. What's one thing that you think everyone should know?
um, yeah, that's a good question. I think hygiene would be a good thing to know by now. I think
Yeah,
everyone should know how to wash
very
their hands properly. I think that's one silver lining from this whole thing is now everyone washes their hands, which is nice.
true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Cool. And then the last one, I suppose, is what has surprised you most about yourself this year?
Changing, I guess, going into like this thing I'm doing completely differently from bars, I'm doing quite well from it. And it was actually quite a good reminder that there's so many valuable skills from our industry, like thinking on your feet, thinking under pressure, working fast, working smart, and all these things. And then I'm working with these geniuses in the blockchain world, and they lack a lot of these qualities. Yes, there's a lot of things I'm like, how did you even think about that? But then there's some things that are so simple to any bartender, and then you realize how valuable these skills are. So for me, it was a lovely reminder of that.
That's good. You've survived the quick fire round, so congratulations for that.
That's good.
So the last thing that we want to touch on in this interview is, like I was saying before, is the purpose of What's Poppin is for us to discuss exploding trends within the bartending industry and the wider communities as well. So we've got a little game we want to play called Poppin or Droppin'.
Okay.
We've got some topics for you, and you need to tell us whether you think they're popping, so they're worth the hype, they're really good, or whether they're dropping and whether they're probably a bit overrated, and you're not really feeling it.
All right, I just want to apologize to anyone in advance for insulting with my decisions. So, yeah.
So first one, so spicy drinks and hot sauce. So the reason that we've got Bloody Marys today is because me and a couple of friends do love Bloody Marys, and the best one that we ever had was at Panda Sons.
Oh, wow.
So that's why we'd kind of paid a little homage. But the popping or dropping topic would be hot sauce or spicy drinks. Do you reckon they're popping or dropping?
I think popping. It's always going to be there, and I think when I lived in LA, it was insane the amount of people wanting spicy drinks and stuff. So yeah, it's here to stay, and I can see it be popping.
Love that.
Amazing. So the next one I feel like you will have an opinion on because it's about finance. So
just call him out.
So what about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin?
Yeah, it's popping. I think not the whole market, but when you look at things like Bitcoin being a store of value, etc., I think people will soon realize that with potential inflation.
100%. I feel like it has the potential to go crazy
through the roof.
Yeah, with like NFTs and everything like that. All sorts of going on. It is mad. It is crazy.
And then the last one, non-alcoholic drinks or non-alcoholic spirits as a category, popping or dropping?
Popping. I think what we found from lockdown is a lot of people started looking after themselves a lot more, and so you're finding people are a lot more maybe drinking, not stopping drinking, but drinking super premium, but then also drinking a lot of non-alcoholics as well.
Amazing. So all popping then?
All popping. Let's keep it positive.
Yes, let's keep it positive. So the last thing that we wanted to do is ask you specifically what you think is going to be trending. Is there anything at the minute that you think people should be paying attention to, or something that's kind of became really influential to you?
Again, it's it's something that's already been there, but I think there's going to be more and more emphasis on keeping things local, supporting their economies and stuff like that, especially with all these taxes coming up. And I think that's a great thing. There's a lot of sustainable benefits to that as well. So yeah, I can see that really emerging as something that's going to be more prevalent in more bars.
Amazing.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us. That was all like so informative to me anyway. So like I said before, this is actually our first episode of What's Poppin'. So thank you so much for joining us. We will put your social media links on the screen and give you a bit of a shout out.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, so thank you so much. And we will definitely keep in touch with you.
And I'll
Thanks a lot. And again, if anyone wants to reach out to me, please feel free. I'm always open for people asking for advice and stuff like that as well.
100%, 100%. Thank you so much.
Thanks, man.
Thanks a lot. See you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed that video, please subscribe and hit the like button for more exclusive What's Poppin' content. To find out more about us, you can visit our website at flavorblaster.com or check out our social media pages.